Hello, and welcome to 10 Ways Libraries Can Program the Newbery Medal. My name is Arissa Dameron, and I am a children's librarian with the DC Public Library. Here's a little bit about me. I am a children's librarian. That's kind of newer in case you can't tell by how young I am. I have my bachelor's in English from Yale and my MS/LS from the University of Kentucky. I've been obsessed with the Newbery Medal for a long time. I used to memorize them. Who won what year, not the whole book. But my favorite Newbery Medal winner is The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin. And my favorite, not quite winner, but still honorable, is The Princess Academy by Shannon Hale. Now that we are on first name basis with each other, let's get started with this quick overview of 10 ways you can create library programming, whether you're a public or a school library, or even just, somewhere in the middle, around the Newbery 100 anniversary, which is happening all through 2022. Let's start with a citywide read. This is one of the more ambitious programming proposals I'm going to have for you today, but it's one that I'm really excited about this year to see happen throughout the country and in my home state, of Washington, DC. You can pick a Newbery winning book for your citywide read. A lot of cities pick an adult book and a children's book, but a lot of Newbery books are great for the whole family. So we do call these family reads, DC family reads, etc. We have a long-term partnership with the Washington Wizards basketball team for our winter challenge. And so this year it made sense to pick The Crossover by Kwame Alexander and check off a lot of boxes. It's a great book for tweens and parents, and Kwame Alexander does have several other books for younger and older audiences that can be tied into this work. To create programming around this, we of course encourage citywide book clubs. We have discussion guides, different activities around basketball and poetry, and online content such as videos, who is Kwame Alexander, what is the crossover about, etc. I made this poetry packet to give out in relation to the crossover family read, especially as we are going to be doing a lot of handouts and not a lot of active programming around it this February. So this is a blackout poetry activity. The other parts of the packet are acrostic poems, similes, metaphors, cinquains, of all ages, really school age geared about poetry. We also have this video on who is Kwame Alexander that we're going to share widely. Another great programming idea is using BBOTs and STEM to program around the Newbery. You can create a BBOTs maze to follow the story of a Newbery winning book. Picture books like The Last Stop on Market Street obviously work great for this because they don't require a lot of pre-reading, and participants can consult the text and build reading comprehensions and mapping skills. I like to use BBOTs for these, but you can create a simple paper maze, one that you follow with pencils, use a Sphero or any other STEM parts you have lying around. You could even do a BBOTs maze with history of the Newbery, creating a path of books from each decade or recent winners, etc. So this is what that looks like. I made these instructions to share with my system. I chose not to use images from the book just for some copyright reasons. And I think it challenges readers more to kind of intuit, like, this is a person playing the guitar. I can recognize that without necessarily seeing that in the book it is the exact same image. Then we have my favorite right now in the land of coronavirus, take and make kits. You can get creative with Newbery titles to create artistic take and make kits. For something like New Kid, which won in 2020, you can make a kit for kids to create their own comic book, provide paper, a few art supplies, an introduction to the book, and some prompts to get them started. For a book like Mercy Suarez Changes Gears, you could do a take and make kit to create a bicycle from different materials. You can also try including more information about the book and the Newbery Medal in these art projects, an extra worksheet or something inside, a word search about the Newbery Medal, and also, as always, recommended read-alikes. So this is my create your own comic kit inspired by Jerry Craft. New Kid, which is actually based on a past DC Read activity I did with Good Talk by Mary Jacob, but it's pretty easy to adapt with graphic novels. And I kind of focused it around hard conversations like some of the ones that Jordan has in New Kid. Next up, we have poetry read-alouds. You can bring the Newbery Medal books to life through poetry read-alouds. Stories like Joyful Noise and Good Masters, Sweet Ladies are perfect for these smaller poetry read-alouds, whether they're done in person or over Zoom. You can assign parts or just popcorn it in a circle if you're not able to do a pre-registration sort of situation. You can even bring just copies of a few poems to focus on, or have everyone get their own copy to read and follow along. These are also great ways to engage readers in kind of critical thought on poetry as they're reading. How did it make you feel? How is it different being read aloud than being read silently? I also think it would be really fun to have a poetry reading contest inspired by a Newbery medalist. That could mean either, who does the best rendition of The Moth from Joyful Noise, or they could write a piece of their own inspired by one of these stories. Next up, we have escape rooms or bags. Virtual or in-person escape rooms are a great way to intrigue participants and give them an experience to remember at your library. And there are so many ways to do these now. Some very simple ones like a Google form, and then, actual escape rooms that you can create using a conference room or a meeting room at your library. Newbery winning novels like From the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler or The Westing Game are great fodder for escape rooms. There's also the Rebecca Steed book. You could even do a Trapped in the Library with When You Trap a Tiger by Tay Keller. You can purchase pre-made escape rooms or create your own. And kind of think about how you can engage participants who have read the book and who haven't read the book to maybe want to pick it up. And so these are two virtual escape rooms created by the Shelbourne Museum that I think you could tie into some different Newbery winning titles as well. Next up, we have the go-to of so many librarians for generations, simple paper-based activities, something that doesn't require any special thing, just a printer and some paper. I would call these worksheet inspired because ideally they're a little fancier than that. But it can also include crossword puzzles, word searches, logic puzzles, that sort of thing. For the giver, you could create a utopia brochure. What would your perfect world look like? Create a trifold brochure, either for the world in the giver or for their own utopia or dystopia. In Mercy Suarez, you can create family trees or circles of caring to look at what family means for her and for the reader. And for Tale of Despero, you can create factured fairy tales or paper mazes. So over here, we have a draft of a utopia or dystopia brochure. So it kind of, gives a brief overview of the book and then asks like, okay, you're creating your own utopia. What do you include? What are the rules? What does it look like? Here we have a family circle, who are in your spheres of family. And here we have a paper maze with Despero. Pretty simple, but we also have some fractured fairy tale elements in that packet as well. Next up, we have interactive movie screenings. These are great in the times of coronavirus because they can be done at home or at the library. You can have them all gathered together and you hand out scripts, or you can send scripts home or release them on the internet. You can use certain phrases that appear often, when they say on guard, you all lift your paper swords, or you can have a craft or a call and response moment. A printable cheat sheet is perfect for this, and I recommend including a prop if you're going to do a take and make kit, or having a snack if you're able to at the library. Of course, no programming proposal for the 100th anniversary of such a major award would be appropriate without a mock Newbery. This can be done among your own students, among your staff, or among everyone. If you don't have access or your readers aren't going to read all the most recent ones, so you're not going to do it for a specific year, you can ask them to pick a mock Newbery among past winners, maybe from 2000 to 2021. Which book should win the Newbery of the 2000s so far? Another popular programming proposal during the pandemic has been family learning videos, or online YouTube videos accessible from anywhere that can go along with activities related to the Newbery. So these could be instruction videos for any of the past activities we've discussed: how to do a maze, what is a fractured fairy tale, how to play with bee-bots, what is a utopia, who is Kwame Alexander, anything like that. Or you can focus on book talks about specific Newbery winners, or quizzes like which of these books has never won the Newbery, what Newbery winning novel is this first line from, etc. These are great because they can be perennial. You can share them for years to come because we're not taking the Newbery Medal away from any of the past winners. So as we grow and add more and more winners to this list, this is going to be great back content. This is a piece from a video I did on about a history of the Newbery Medal that we are sharing widely this season. One of the things I'm really passionate about this season of Newbery Centennial Celebration is internal staff development. So many staff know what the Newbery Medal is or have some vague understanding of what it means when it's put on a book cover, but don't know what goes into choosing it. Membership in ALSC, ALA, YALSA, and state and other organizations are often less important in library systems than internal work, but when award season comes around, we're all excited to learn more. You can encourage staff to join these groups, attend some of their webinars, and take advantage of mentorship and committee service opportunities. I also recommend reaching out to ALA or ALSC to bring in members to talk to your staff about those opportunities. Encourage your staff to review for places like School Library Journal, Book List, Hornbook to build their skills, and share articles about the history of the Newbery Award or other diverse awards like the Coretta Scott King or the Pura Belpré Award to kind of raise awareness, especially in conjunction with the Newbery. Like, yes, this is a big year for the Newbery, but there are so many other books and book awards out there that we can all be talking about all year long. So these are some upcoming things. This is a past ALA ALSC webinar on problematic award-winning text, which is a lot about what it means to serve on the committee. We have some history articles about the Newbery and an upcoming book list webinar on the Newbery. Finally, here are just a few tips I have after spearheading a lot of this work for the DC library system. Here are 3 of my major tips. Read the Newbery winning books, but don't rely on them. Programming is most effective here when it's inspired by the books, but doesn't require participants to have read it to enjoy the program. Yes, you will get students and patrons who come in who have read the book that you're creating a program about, but it should still be fun for people who haven't read the book. Next, utilize existing programs and resources. Tie the Newbery Medal Centennial to pre-existing craft activities, book clubs, and after-school programs. Use your built-in audience and find Newbery titles that match their interests. This is great if you have an existing partnership with a sports team. Can you find a Newbery title related to that sport, etc. And then take time to develop your staff. A staff who is well-versed in professional organization and reviewing is a great library staff that is able to handle these centennials with ease and what it means for all the patrons who are going to come in, having seen something on the website and asking, hey, what's this about? Tell me about the Newbery Medal, and your staff will be ready to go. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Once again, my name is Arissa Damron. This was 10 ways to program the Newbery Medal at your library, and I would love to hear about what programming you have coming up. Let me take it back to my front page. My email address is my first name dot my last name at dc.gov. So that's ARYSSA.DAMRON@dc.gov. I would love to hear from you, answer any questions, or share some of what I've been working on. Have a great day.